Hello, everyone. So we are on another wonderful Friday doing a live for Intrepid English, Ask Us Friday, and it's the second part of my three-part series covering all the tenses in English. So I would like to start with, sorry, the light is just going to move my head. There we go. And so we're going to be covering the past tenses today. And because last week I talked about the present tenses, and this week we're talking about the past tenses. And in the past, we have three tenses. We have the past simple, the past continuous, and the past perfect. So, since we finished with the present perfect last week, I'm going to first of all talk about the past simple. So, the structure of the past simple is quite simple. So, for positive regular verbs, you add ed on the base form. Oh, see, it's 10 o'clock because I'm live in London. And for the irregular past verbs, I'm afraid you have to learn them off by heart. There is no rule, there is no easy way to learn them. You have to learn them off by heart. So, like say is said, it's just the way it is. Okay, then for the negative with the past simple, we have the subject, didn't, plus the base verb. Then for the question, we have did, plus subject, plus the base verb. So how do we use the past simple? The main use of the past simple is for finished and completed actions at a specific point in the past. We know when the action happened. Okay, this is very, very important to remember. For example, he cleaned his flat yesterday, or I moved to Paris in 2009. She was born in July. Those are all past simple tenses, and we know when the action happened in the past. This is important to remember as it's the key difference between the present perfect and the past simple. So, remember, the present perfect can be used to describe actions in the past, but we don't know when. Whereas the past simple, we always have a specific time in the past. So let's compare. He lived in Italy years ago. He no longer lives in Italy now. So the living in Italy happened, it's finished, it's completed. Compared to, he has lived in Italy for many years. This means he moved to Italy a few years ago, or many years ago, and he is still in Italy now. That is the big difference. Let's take another example. She went to the shops to get some groceries yesterday. So she is back home and the groceries are in the fridge, and she has food to eat. Compared to, she has gone to the shops with the present perfect. So she's at the shops now. She left to go to the shops in the past, but she's at the shops now, and she is getting food, and the food is not here, okay? So that is the big difference with the past simple and the present perfect. And so remember, the past simple of actions finished and completed in the past. Let's look at the past continuous, the second past tense in English. So the structure is a positive sentence. We have subject plus was or were. So it's you were and they were, we were. Okay, but I was, he, she was. Okay, plus verb ing. The negative is subject plus wasn't or weren't plus verb ing. The question was or wasn't, was or were, was or were plus subject plus verb ing. And how do we use the past continuous? Its main use is to describe an action in progress around a point in the past. Okay, just like in the present last week, with the present continuous, we can say, I am teaching you about the past tenses now. So with the past continuous, we can also say, this time last week, I was teaching you about the present tenses. Okay, so it's often used for a longer action that was in progress when a past simple action interrupted it. For example, I was talking to Nicola when Sarah called. So I was talking in the past continuous. Called is the past simple, and called interrupted the past continuous. Another example, he was cooking dinner when his wife came home. Okay, so the was cooking was the longer action, and then came home, came is the past simple action that interrupts it. You can also have two continuous actions happening at the same time in the past. So, for example, I was talking to Nicola while she was doing the washing up. So there we've got both tenses, both verbs are in the past continuous tense because they're happening at the same time, around the same time in the past. Another example, he was cooking dinner while his children played in the garden. Okay, so again, both actions happening around the past. And if you have any questions in how the past simple and the past continuous relate to each other, please comment below and I can help you. And then finally, we have the past perfect simple and the past perfect continuous. So the past perfect simple structure is this: positive sentence, subject plus had plus the past participle. Negative sentence, subject plus hadn't plus past participle. For a question, had plus subject plus the past participle. And how do we use the past perfect? Well, not as often as you think. We do use it, but it's not, there's only one main use, so it's quite an easy tense to use. So I call it the tense 2 steps back in the past. So you have the present, and then you often have the past simple action, and then you have the past perfect action. So I know I said the past continuous was a longer action before a past simple interrupts it, but the past perfect is slightly different. Let me give you the example. The film had started when we arrived. So this means there's this connection between the past simple action and the past perfect. It had started already when we arrived, compared to, because start happens, it can't continue. So if I was going to use with the past continuous, I'd say the film was playing when we arrived. Okay, because the verb play, it is continuing, it's the longer action. Another example, the bus had left before we got to the bus stop. Okay, so you're running to the bus stop and you see, there's the bus, it's going, you missed it. Okay, so that action, leaving, happened before our past simple action of arriving at the bus stop. Another good example is I realized when I arrived home, so past simple, arrived home, I had left my keys at the office. Okay, so it means that I got home, I don't have my keys, so I can't go into my home. So the left is in the past perfect because it didn't continue. You left your keys, boom, it was gone. Okay, so we often use the past perfect with a time expression such as before, by the time, when. Okay, there is also the continuous aspect of this tense, just as we had with the present perfect. And the structure is positive for the positive sentence, subject plus had plus been plus verb ing. Okay, negative, subject plus had. Sorry, we're in the negative. Subject plus hadn't plus been plus verb ing. In the question, had plus subject plus been plus verb ing. Okay, that's how we structure it. And the use is a little bit just as the difference between the present perfect simple and the present perfect continuous. It's the same kind of difference between the past perfect simple and the past perfect continuous. So we use it to show an action which started in the past and continued to another point in the past. Okay, so for example, she had been living in Italy for 3 years when she lost her job. Okay, so she lost her job in the past, and we want to really make it clear the length of time for that action that happened before. Okay, I had been waiting for 10 minutes before the bus arrived. Again, we're making it very clear how long we waited before the bus arrived. So it's not like the past continuous. I can understand how there can be confusions with that. But I couldn't say, I really want to make the difference clear that that action was basically finished, and it was the connection between the past simple and that action before. I really want to make that clear. Okay, another example, by the time Steve arrived, I had been working for nearly 8 hours. There's this nuance, this part of it that says that you're not happy that you had been working for 8 hours. Okay, whereas I could say I was working for 8 hours when Steve arrived. But the difference there is that the was working was interrupted by Steve arriving, but there's no connection. Now, when I use the past perfect continuous, I'm saying that actually Steve was normally supposed to work with me. Okay, so I'm not happy about it. I'm not happy that I worked 8 hours before he arrived. So there's that difference there. Okay, so with the past perfect, we also use with time expressions such as for 5 hours, for 2 weeks, for a long time, by the time. Okay, always giving that length of time. We can also use it to talk about the cause of something in the past. So Susan was sweating, blah, like lots of, the transpiring, just sweating all over her, because she had been running. So the running in the past caused the sweat. Henry was late because he had been studying. So that's the reason why he was late, was because he had been studying. And that's a little bit similar to the present perfect, if you remember from last week. So remember also with the continuous aspects, we cannot use them with stative verbs. And I mentioned them last week, and they are the verbs that are showing our emotions, our feelings. So believe, know, think, love, prefer, hate, feel, see, remember, understand. You can't use those in the continuous aspect. So you would keep that in the past perfect simple or the past simple. So those are the tenses in the past. Be sure to watch next week's video when I cover the future tenses for the third part of my series. And I will be live again next Friday at 10 a.m. BST. Until then, I hope you have a wonderful weekend, and don't hesitate to comment below with any questions you have on the past tenses. Bye for now.